Good morning, it's today again. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph, and I store 20% of my income in the form of rare coins and precious metals. In 1837, small coins disappeared from circulation. In the Civil War, silver and gold coins vanished almost overnight. Merchants didn't wait for Washington to fix it. They made their own money so that trade wouldn't stop. But today, we don't really have a shortage of coins. We have something a little more subtle. What if we're in the modern hard times? It's just that these hard times wouldn't really be about the absence of money, but the actual trust we have in it. I just made my own line of coffee. Joseph's Reserves, it's today again coffee. Most mornings aren't dramatic. They're quiet. You wake up, pour yourself a cup, and now you have a choice. Drift through the day or take hold of what's in front of you. That's really what this whole thing's about. Showing up, building good habits, staying disciplined in the small things. Whether that's stacking consistently, learning something new, or just being faithful with what you've been given. I put these words on every bag to remind myself first. Every morning is a gift. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. So take a breath, take a sip, and let's get to work. It's today again. Congratulations to Walk and Watch for getting to my comment section first in my last video. Walk and Watch has his own YouTube channel, so definitely go check him out and give him some support. When most people hear the phrase hard times, they think of poverty, depression, or an economic collapse. But historically, hard times often began with something much quieter, the disappearance of confidence. In 1837, during what we now call the Panic of 1837, banks began failing across the United States. Credits contracted, paper notes became suspect, gold and silver coins were hoarded, small change became scarce. But commerce didn't stop because people forgot how to trade. It stopped because the medium of exchange became uncertain. Merchants responded by striking what are now called hard time tokens. Copper pieces roughly the size of a large cent began to circulate privately. They weren't legal tender in the federal sense, but they functioned as money because communities accepted them. They filled a transactional void. Then again, in the Civil War, precious metals vanished from circulation almost immediately. Americans hoarded silver and gold. Once again, merchants stepped in and produced Civil War tokens, small denomination copper coins that were meant to replace the federal coinage. These pieces weren't revolutionary, they were practical. They kept commerce moving when official money retreated from daily life. Throughout history, when money disappeared or trust in money weakens, substitutes emerge. And that leads into the deeper question. Are we in a modern version of hard times? Not because coins are missing, but because trust in the dollar is missing? Hard times historically did not always begin with empty pockets. They began with uncertainty. In 1837, the issue wasn't just coin scarcity, it was bank failures, suspension of specie payments, and distrust of paper money. When confidence dropped, people pulled real money, the gold and silver, out of circulation and held it. The result wasn't immediate collapse, it was friction. Everyday trade became difficult because small, trusted units weren't available. The same pattern occurs during the Civil War. When the war erupted, Americans instinctively hoarded precious metals. Silver and gold coins disappeared from daily exchange. Once again, merchants improvised. This pattern repeats globally. During the sieges in Europe, cities struck emergency coinage from melted silver plate or church vessels. In times of monetary strain, official systems tighten and parallel systems emerge. The common thread wasn't necessarily the lack of wealth, it was the lack of confidence. Today, we're not experiencing a shortage in the same way. You can walk into your store and receive change, digital payments still function, and the dollar actually does remain globally dominant. But something has shifted culturally. Many people no longer fully trust the long-term purchasing power of their currency. Inflation in recent years have eroded savings. Monetary expansion has increased dramatically, and national debt has grown to levels that would have seemed unimaginable just a couple generations ago. Again, this is not collapse talk, this is perception talk, and perception influences reality. Just as Americans hoarded silver when they sensed instability, modern Americans are accumulating physical silver and gold when they sense a monetary dilution, not because coins are gone, but because confidence is thinner. This is where the comparison becomes fascinating. In 1830s and 1860s, the emergency tokens were created to replace missing small denominations. They were practical units of daily exchange. Today, many stackers are buying fractional silver, 1/10 ounce rounds, 1/4 ounce pieces, small divisible units. Why? Because divisibility matters in uncertain conditions. A 1,000 ounce bar might be efficient in wholesale markets, but it is useless for small transactions. Even a 1 ounce round may be too large in certain hypothetical scenarios. Fractional silver represents optionality. It's not circulating widely today, but it is being accumulated quietly, and that behavior mirrors the historical instinct. When confidence wavers, people seek tangible, divisible stores of value. And GoldBacks are something similar. GoldBacks present an even more direct parallel. They are privately produced notes containing small, precise amounts of gold. They're not federally legal tender, yet in certain regions, businesses voluntarily accept them. This is strikingly similar to the Civil War and Hard Times tokens. Voluntary acceptance within a network. Trust-based metal content rather than government decree. Again, this does not mean the dollar has failed. It means that there is a parallel system emerging when people desire alternatives. Hard times historically created emergency coinage because official systems were strained. Modern uncertainty creates alternative stores of value because people are hedging against that strain. But it's important not to exaggerate. We're not in 1837. While there are issues getting some payments from banks, and the federal mint is technically failing to supply coinage, say, of pennies, so few people actually transact with physical money that we're not having any issue buying or spending that money. But hard times do not always announce themselves dramatically. Sometimes they begin with a quiet loss of confidence. When people begin to ask, will my savings hold value? Will inflation persist? Will debt expansion continue? What happens when the digital system fails temporarily? Those questions do not create collapse, but they do create preparation. And preparation often looks like history repeating itself in slow motion. So the question is, are we in modern hard times? If hard times means empty shelves and frozen commerce, then no. But if hard times means declining trust in the purchasing power, a growing awareness in the fragility of the entire system, and a quiet accumulation of tangible assets, then I would say yes. Not catastrophic, but definitely transitional. The merchants of 1837 didn't wait for a complete breakdown before striking these tokens. They responded when friction appeared. And today's stackers may be doing something similar, not because money has disappeared, but because the confidence in the long-term stability is not absolute. History teaches us that money functions on trust first and metal second. When trust is strong, paper works. But when trust weakens, the metal circulates. When official coinage disappears, substitutes arise. And when official currency remains but confidence declines, parallel systems begin to form quietly. Hard times tokens were not signals of immediate collapse. They were signs of adaptive communities. The question for us now is not whether the collapse is imminent. The question is whether quiet preparation is necessary. You can now write me at Joseph's Reserves, 10160 Highway 242, Suite 800, number 401 in Conroe, Texas, zip code 77385. Make sure to include your information so I can write you back. If you like the video, make sure you go down and give it a thumbs up. Go down to the comment section for any questions or comments or to start a conversation with someone. If you know someone that might like this video, share it with them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. But most of all, thank you so much for watching. And just remember, every ounce adds up. So no matter how small, just keep stacking.